And look at this. We got another super chat. This is from my wolf brother, Resurrection 117 for $10. You guys are incredible. It says, at this point, all these shows are just selling agenda with the bare minimum of a connection to the original intellectual property. Hail to you, Resurrection 117. I'm going to throw that out to everybody. Tell me what you think about that. We've heard this before, but to see it in the chat, I think a lot more people see this than the media wants to admit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. We've seen it time and time again with IPs. It is just they take the IP and run with it, but it's name only. You know, you're not getting the source material, you're not getting the lore, you're not getting the love of whatever it is they're trying to co-opt.
It's unfortunate to kind of piggyback off of what Purple just said. The thing that I hear the most from people, and I think this was actually brought up on the show the other night too, but everyone tends to just go, say, well, who cares? It doesn't matter. Or who cares? It's just another show. Like, you have all this back story, or you have all these comics, or you have all these movies or video games. So, like, who cares if it's just another thing that they're doing? And what I can't help but think is, like, when you envision, so like if Kratos goes to the big screen, to kind of relate it back to what we were just talking about, then people will relate Kratos to however he is portrayed on Amazon, not from the video games, because more people are going to be watching the show as opposed to the games. So then, you say, hey, I really love this depiction of this character, and someone goes, well, good luck trying to find him, because he's nowhere to be found other than that show. Like, you're only going to find that version of him there. And so that's what's unfortunate. And that's why whenever someone says, well, who cares? It's just a show, or who cares? It's just like one thing. Like, no, like, it's like, with Lord of the Rings, like, whatever, they're going to do what they want. And it's like, but people already know the source material. They know what the depiction of these things. And when it's not what they have known and what they love, it's like, it's marketing 101. You have to give them a little bit of something that they know and a little bit of something new to keep them hopeful for the future and to keep them grounded in the past. But it's not balancing out that way. And so people just go, well, who cares? It's not a big deal. And I think, and that opinion is kind of false and disingenuous.
Yeah. But I agree. Zaxx, what's your take on that, man?
What I don't understand about these companies, when you buy an IP, what you're really buying is a fan base. Like, yeah, there's a story there, but you're buying people who are already loyal to that fan base. So what I really don't understand is why these companies pay the money for something only to piss off the fans immediately. At least bait us in a bit with something that's kind of similar to what we've been a fan of, and then maybe change it later. But which, some people have done a better job of than others. But right now they're just going right for it. And why bother? Just make something new.
Yeah, and it's not just us. It's not those of us who have our fandoms. It's not those of us who would consider ourselves to be medium grade to industrial grade nerds. It's normies. Normies are seeing this, and they're seeing it. It's not just science fiction and fantasy. It's love stories. It's books that were written in the 90s, which have been woke cast. And they're saying the same things that we are about the Lord of the Rings. And Zaxx, you brought up the question, why not just make something new? Why don't they test their markets out? Well, I'm going to challenge that. And I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying at this point, I think the whole reason they did buy that intellectual property was to disrupt it, was to shake things up. I mean, J.J. Abrams is still a big player in Hollywood. And the philosophy that he was espousing in the tweets that he did last year during the mostly peaceful protests around the country, we're seeing the fruit of that promise in every single intellectual property, whether it's on streaming or the big screen. So to me, I wouldn't even call it a conspiracy theory at this point. I just see it, and I'm going to call it the way that it is. This is deliberate. It's being done intentionally. They're not doing it for money anymore. Apparently, they just want to make sure that we're not comfortable for some reason. But, maybe I'm crazy.
I think there's a great video that talks about this, and basically the gentleman speaking on the Lord of the Rings and Amazon's Wheel of Time and all this stuff, because he's a big fantasy guy. he always asks the question why. And in business or in like any type of marketing or whatever, you have like the 5 whys, and you just what happens is you continue to ask yourself why. So like if you go, okay, Amazon is taking over this IP. Okay, why? Because they want the fan base. Okay, why? And you ask yourself 5 whys, and then you get to the root of what it is that why they did this. And everyone will have their own different take, but a lot of times I think for some people it's to divide the fan base. Like for some people, they think that by having Kratos in this new God of War thing, by having Lord of the Rings, by having the Wheel of Time, when they divide the fan base, they make it the haves and the have-nots, or like the toxic fans and the people who are the virtue signalers, or the ones who are better or something. And it's unfortunate because then it doesn't just divide the fan base, it divides like the showrunners, it divides the actors, it divides everyone, and it creates this big thing, and then you're left with a pile of rubble, and then they move on to the next IP. But
yeah. As ever, this is Salty Texas C. I am Corey DB. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you've seen and heard, please hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you on board. That way and we have things like live streams, which we are now going to be doing every Tuesday evening. Take care. I hope you're having a great 2022.